Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jonathan. So I'm making this video to give you guys a quick demo of how I would conduct my classes for Tai Chi in the elderly population. So basically I would start by giving a little explanation of Tai Chi and the importance of Tai Chi for rehab, arthritis and fall prevention in the older community. Also just the overall benefits of Tai Chi to help with the cardiovascular system, reducing stress, raising awareness, right, and improving your overall balance and just overall quality of life. To that effect, I would begin my classes by teaching patients how to breathe, because one of the main foundations in Tai Chi is, of course, focusing on the internal processes of the body, which includes your breathing, your posture, and your awareness. So I would begin by working on the breathing, then the posture, then the awareness, right, in that order. So first I would teach them to kind of, I guess in Tai Chi we call this type of breathing technique breathing into the dantian. The dantian is the energy center, which is located in our bellies. But to tie that into therapy, rehab, and of course evidence-based practice, I would compare it to diaphragmatic breathing, which we use in rehab to help patients brace through movement by teaching them to activate their core as they're putting their center of gravity or putting their weight over their center of gravity, like reaching for things and doing things that require movement. For those things to happen safely in rehab, and especially for patients who've had injuries, they need to learn how to work their core and brace their core and move, and all the movements that happen thereof to happen through the core, right? So I would teach them the importance of that, bracing through the core. And for that, we would begin an exercise called just putting your hand on your chest, one on your chest and one on your belly, and then just breathing into your belly. And I would have them and show them how to make sure the hand on the chest isn't rising while the hand in the belly is rising. And so this takes practice, but what it does is helps them to regulate their teaching, as well as bring all of that awareness, whatever's happening, into the internal processes of the body, specifically the breathing. Then we would move on to the posture. For the posture, I would tell my patients or my clients, students, to imagine that they had a string kind of pulling themselves up, right? And this string is kind of holding them up while they're focusing on the breathing, and this will help kind of increase their awareness of their posture, of their breathing, as well as their surroundings. So that would be just a quick little intro that I would give them, and then we would move on to the warm-ups and the first form of Tai Chi, which I have practiced for rehab specifically, and that is going to be the easiest form for them that I would start with, just to see where people are at. And once I start going to these places more regularly, I would increase the difficulty of the Tai Chi forms, but it would still just be a form of very easy Tai Chi for people to follow along with, nothing difficult or strenuous. All of Tai Chi is done very slowly, very controlled, and never within the full range of motion. All of the movements in Tai Chi are always going to be within that 70% range of motion, and it's never going to be more than that. Okay, so with that, I'll end this section and we'll begin the demonstration of the warm-ups and then the rehab for it. All right, so we're going to begin with the warm-ups. Now for time reasons, I'm going to kind of speed through these movements, but in reality, during a class, I would do these. I would take my time and really focus on making sure people understand each movement before moving on to the next section. So we would begin, of course, by teaching them the whole technique as we were speaking about the diaphragmatic breathing. Once they understand that, I'd have them place both their hands at the bottom belly here, just to kind of give them a tactile cue to remember to breathe into their hands. And while they're doing that, we would focus on first shifting our weight to one side while extending the other leg where the weight is off, and we would just do heel taps, back and forth, back and forth. This will help with mobility for the ankle, as well as begin to kind of challenge their balance and bring it back to the center. Now, in rehab, when we want to increase a patient's vestibular system or their balance, we want to challenge it, because the only way the body improves is by having it being challenged. Of course, in this kind of a setting, in a skilled nursing facility or assisted living facility, we want these methods of being challenged to be controlled and safe. And Tai Chi is a perfect way to do that. So we would do the other side. Boom, right? Bring it back to the center. Still have them breathing. Now we would go back, do ankle side to side for some more ankle mobilities. Same thing on the other side. Okay, speeding up to this, remember, I would definitely take my time much more with my clients at these facilities. Next, we would go through this movement. We would make sure we weight shift, extend our leg out, and punch. Just a light punch, and back to center. And now these fists are Tai Chi fists, so we're not clenching all the way. You see, I can see right through it. This is a real fist, this is the Tai Chi fist. We're keeping both our fists very lightly pressed against our hips. One more time, there's the plane. Weight shift, and punch. Now that we've done some weight shifting with the legs, we're going to start some torso rotations to help patients move and mobilize their torso. So for that, we would just rotate to one side. Never within the full range. Tai Chi is always within 70% range of motion. We do three sets of each exercise. After we've done 3, now we're going to do some spinal stretches, as if we're pushing the ceiling up and pushing the floor down, and back into holding our Tai Chi ball, as I like to call it, and pushing the ceiling away and the ground away, and never within full range, always just within the 70% of max range of motion. Nice, safe, and easy. Perfect. And bring it back. So now while we're holding this ball, I would just get patients comfortable with weight shifting, right? Just do little weight shifts to the side. Get them to focus on the breathing, their balance, their posture. Still imagining that they're being held up by a string. But at the same time, their knees are slightly bent to help with handling the challenges of movements. So, because if their knees are locked and they're moving, they're going to get off their center of balance real quick. But if their knees are slightly bent, posture erect, now the body can handle shifts in balance with much more control and ease. Okay, now that we've done the spinal, we're going to start with the shoulders. Gather chi, bring it in. Gather chi, and bring it in. Right? This is going to help with shoulder mobility, as well as some spinal mobility as well. Now we're going to roll our shoulders back. Forward, then back. Right? We're going to bring our hands up, turn them around, and bring them towards our face. As we bring our hands towards our face, we're going to chin tuck. We'll go to the side so you can see that. And that's going to help patients kind of activate their neck muscles in a proper way as far as posture is concerned, because so many times throughout our day, we're on the desk, on the computer, or just sitting like this, and we need to take that neck out of this forced extension and bring it into flexion to straighten the neck out and activate the neck muscles properly. So this exercise is good for shoulders and for the neck mobility. And then pushing it out and following our hands down with our gaze, flexing our neck down. So I do that 3 times. We bring it up for the final, the 3rd time, and now we're looking, turning our top palm up, the bottom palm down, and we're following the top palm, looking to the right, just within 70% of our available range of motion. Same thing for the other side. Nice and controlled. Our knees are still slightly bent. We're still breathing through the dantian, or the diaphragmatic breathing technique. So that's it for the warm-ups. Then I would use the warm-ups to kind of gauge where the room is at, and based on that, I would select my Tai Chi form. If I'm still unsure, I probably would still just start with the easiest form, which is Tai Chi for rehab. Then I would move on to Tai Chi for arthritis and Tai Chi for fall prevention. Okay? So we will begin our forms by having our feet together. For some patients, this might be a little hard for them balance-wise, so I would encourage them to just keep their feet shoulder-width apart and to keep it where it's comfortable, always to where it's comfortable for them. So we start with our feet as together as you can have them. If you can keep them more together, better. Because again, we want to challenge their balance so that they improve, but also within safety and controlled measures. Slightly, before we begin this, I would tell them weight shift. Always focus on the weight shift before we extend into any other direction. Weight shift to the right, open our legs up to the left. Okay, bring our hands up. Working in our posture, imagining that little string pulling us erect right out of the center of our heads. And now we're going to do a slight bend in the knees, bring it down, and play with our little Tai Chi ball, extending it, making it grow. As the Tai Chi ball grows, our hands expand, and as the Tai Chi ball shrinks, our hands come closer together. So we do this 3 times. And now we're going to begin with our movement of side to side, starting with moving to the left side while carrying our little Tai Chi energy ball, and we're going to play with it, right? So we're going to bring our hand down. Now from carrying our Tai Chi ball this way, we're going to imagine we're weight shifting to the right and beginning to carry a big old, you ever seen those big long punching bags at the gym? One of those big old punching bags. Carrying, weight shifting, extend. Now that we've weight shifted, we can extend our leg out, center our weight, keeping our legs bent, and now carry that big old punching bag, rotate it around, and as we're coming around the top hand, we're going to turn it, keeping the bottom hand the same, and now bringing our leg in, turning our hand out, and now we're going to switch our hands. Since we're visualizing gripping that punching bag, we're going to switch the hands that we're grabbing the bag with from top to bottom, and now we're bringing it around the other way. And as we get to the end of the 45-degree angle we are facing, turn the top hand out, shift our weight, and once again, keep stepping. Now we're going to shift our grip and grab the bag one more time in the other way. Now that our weight is mostly on our left, now we can bring the leg in. One more time, switch the hands, and we do this 3 times. After the 3rd time, we finish carrying the bag, turn it out, bring it in. Play with our little Tai Chi ball, expanding it, making it shrink. Now we're going to bring it into our pocket, bringing it into the left hip. Now that it's here, we're going to drag it across our floor, our imaginary floor here, bring it to the right side of our hip, and now bring it back up diagonally to the left. Right? And now turn it to the right. As we're doing this, we're weight shifting already. Turning our foot out since there's no weight on it, and bringing our center back. One more time. I would probably take my time breaking these sections up for people, especially if they've never done Tai Chi. So we bring the ball again, and now we're basically doing everything again that we just did on the other side, okay? So now we bring the ball down to our right side, drag it across to our left, bring it diagonally up to the right, turn it around, maintaining our diaphragmatic breathing through our dantian, maintaining that imagery of the string pulling us erect while keeping our knees slightly bent, right? And now, shifting that ball again to carrying the big punching bag, except this way. This time we're going to the right. Weight shift to the left, extend. Now carry that big old punching bag around, turn the top hand down, and we're going to switch our grip. Now we're just turning it. Anytime we're going from one direction to the other, so in the beginning we went left. Now we're going right. So since we're going right, we're just going to move to the right and turn to the left. And in the beginning we moved to the left and turn to the right, okay? And we just turning to the left, turning our hands out, switching our hands, finishing the movement, moving to the right. So we do this a total of 3 times. On the 3rd time, we come back with a little Tai Chi ball, expand, contract. We do this 3 times, and after 3 times, we'd be done with this form. I tell them to bring the Tai Chi ball out, still maintaining our posture erect, maintaining our breathing, bring our feet together, as close together as is comfortable while maintaining our balance. And now we can fully pull that little string to stand us erect. And that would be the end of that form. So thank you guys for your time. Again, this is very sped up. I would slow this very much so, and even break it up into parts based on my audience, right? And there's more forms that I would also incorporate based on the crowd if they're able to do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little Tai Chi demonstration, and I hope to hear from you soon.